I have a wonderful and large family. I have my beautiful wife, Milagros. I have 2 stepkids, Elliot and Emily, and I have my children, Evan and Lily.
This home is kind of like home base for a lot of people. On Saturday night, we have family dinner and everybody just kind of comes. Everybody wants to get into the bowl. Like if you're in the bowl, then you're really a part of the family. There's a little charm for every person. This one is Believe in Miracles, so this one's Vic, because he's a miracle.
What I want to do is begin to build visuals. Teaching is the family business. Both of my parents were professors. What I have come to really enjoy about the job is interacting with students. I got a couple different notes from students saying what we did in your class was very impactful for my career. And I can't imagine anybody getting that much satisfaction and enjoyment out of their job as I got at that moment. I had my first colonoscopy at age 48, and the GI doctor was very surprised to find a great big mass in my colon.
It's not ever something you imagine that they're gonna come out and give you the worst news ever. Everything came into focus once the doctor came out. He said, you have a 90% blockage in your colon, and we have to move as fast as possible to get to the bottom of this. It is gonna be a very long road ahead. So you need to be prepared. At that moment, like everything really changed.
So my initial diagnosis was stage 3 colon cancer. I had a surgery October 13th of 2015, a resection of the colon. And I also had chemotherapy that followed the procedures. But as soon as that was done, I was starting to feel better, and I tried to return to my life. I certainly was back in the classroom just as quickly as I could be, and I expected that we were done with that whole experience. But then that questionable scan came in the summer of 2017, and they wanted to come back and look at it again in 6 months, and they did, and decided that there was actually metastasis to the liver. So even though I was feeling pretty well at that time, this was a scary piece of news that happened. It was a big shock.
Dealing with this diagnosis, a metastatic spread, stage 4, is very anxiety producing. There's this worry that, oh, if it came back then, will it just come back again, or will it spread to other places?
This diagnosis of stage 4 colon cancer 10, 15, 20 years ago, that was catastrophic. There was no treatment. These patients, that was a sentence of death for these patients practically.
Losing Vic was a real possibility, and there were days where I thought, I don't know if this is gonna work, but you always hope it doesn't come to that.
My younger kids, as we were going through the process, it's a really scary thing, I think, to see your dad go through this. I feel emotional thinking about it, what they went through during this process.
I think of research as a commitment. It's that constant posture of investigating, of working as hard as we can every day, not only for the people we serve today, but the people we're going to serve tomorrow. And that makes us all better and makes us a better place.
I think about Vic's treatment as a culmination of a lot of research. So any treatment that we prescribe was once a clinical trial. And it's not only the trials that were huge successes, but we also learn from trials that may not have been big successes.
Whenever we're thinking about clinical trials, we start by thinking about the patients we serve in our community. For the past decade, we've been involved in exciting trials looking at curing rectal cancer with radiation and chemotherapy, but also in a very exciting way, we've looked at resection or liver transplant to try to help those patients who have had cancer come back.
Wilmot Cancer Institute has been a place that has been so professional, so caring, so effective in terms of taking me from day one in this experience all the way to where I am today. The treatment for me began with a surgery.
We did a minimally invasive surgery, and we were able to resect and remove a portion of his liver where that metastasis was occupying perhaps around 15% of his liver. So the 5-year survival for patients like Vic with no surgery would be around 5 to 10% survival at 5 years. With surgery, being able to resect everything, the survivals can improve up to 60% at 5 years or even more.
One of the things that we pride ourselves on is a multidisciplinary team approach. From every team, we have dedicated people who are really focused on one goal, which is providing the best care.
I have to say I really came to know some of the people in the infusion center at Wilmot. In some ways, you interact with them as much or more than your doctors. I'm thinking of some of the people that really brighten your day when you're feeling, pretty tired, pretty bad.
It fills my heart to be able to provide help for these patients. But I know that we have to go beyond. And what we're trying to do is to provide this access and help more of these patients.
I have been in remission for approaching 5 years now. I was not in a particularly good physical condition at the end of the treatment, but I found a local boxing gym and I went to my first workout there kind of out of the blue, and I've been hooked since then. I've been going since 2018, just after my treatment ended. It's been life-changing for me, without a doubt. I am objectively stronger, fitter, healthier than I have ever been in my life.
We look forward to every day in our lives. We look forward to the little things and we look forward to the big things.
There is no doubt that I would be in a very, very different situation today if I had not had the benefit, the privilege of interacting with this care team and receiving really exceptional care at Wilmot. You know, we talked about how rewarding it is to be a professor when a student writes back and says, "You helped me." Well, this is me being a student and saying to my Wilmot team, "Thank you. Look what you've done. You know, you have taken me from a very low point in my life to a really high point in my life today." So I'm incredibly grateful.